We've all had teachers. Some were good, sure, but then there were those few who were, well, just unforgettable. So what's the actual difference? Is it some kind of magic, or is it something we can actually pin down? Well, today we're going to decode the blueprint for what makes a teacher truly excellent. I mean, that's the big question, right? It's pretty clear it's not just about being smart or knowing your subject inside and out. It's got to be about inspiring and managing a classroom and connecting with kids in a way that, I don't know, actually changes their lives. And it turns out the American Board for Certification of Teacher Excellence has spent a lot of time thinking about exactly this. And they've boiled it all down to a number, 16. Yep, that's it. 16 key characteristics that they say separate the good teachers from the truly great ones. So what we're going to do is walk through this blueprint together. But listen, this isn't just going to be some boring checklist. Do this, don't do that, no way. To really get a handle on how these 16 traits all fit together, we've actually organized them into a much more memorable framework. I want you to think of great teaching like a sturdy building, held up by 4 pillars. First, you've got the architect, the one who designs the whole learning environment. Then you have the master of the craft, who really hones the art of teaching. Third is the professional role model, the one who embodies integrity. And finally, you have the heart of the classroom, which is all about that crucial human connection. So let's start with that first pillar, shall we? The architect. All right, pillar number 1, the architect of the learning environment. This is all about building that foundation for success. Because let's be real, without a solid structure, even the most amazing creative lesson plan is just gonna fall apart. So what falls under this pillar? Well, it's the real nuts and bolts. Things like maintaining class control, with clear and consistent rules. It's about organizing all your resources and plans, keeping accurate records for grades and attendance, all that stuff. And most importantly, it's about providing something they call deliberate instruction. And this really gets to the why behind this pillar. The source material is super clear on this. If you don't have structure, the classroom just descends into, and I love this word, pandemonium. Total chaos and low productivity. A great teacher, the architect, stops that chaos before it even gets a chance to start. So that brings us back to that key idea, deliberate instruction. What is it? Well, it's not just random teaching. It's about creating this really clear, predictable path where the students know exactly what they're doing, why they're doing it, and they feel totally supported the whole time. It's basically the blueprint for the lesson itself. Okay, let's move on to our second pillar, which builds right on top of that foundation. This is the master of the craft. Now that the structure's in place, it's all about the skill, the expertise, and the artistry that a teacher brings to the job. And this is where a teacher's deep knowledge of their subject really gets to shine. But it's so much more than that, right? It's about mastering a whole toolbox of different teaching techniques, always continuing to learn and grow, and of course, using creativity to make lessons stick. I absolutely love this example from the source material because it shows you exactly what creativity looks like here. We're not just talking about being good at drawing. We're talking about turning your classroom into a barnyard to read Charlotte's Web, or setting up a courtroom for the Scopes trial. Can you imagine being a kid in that class? That is a lesson you will never forget. So at the end of the day, this pillar is all about how great teachers are both scholars and artists. They've got this deep well of knowledge, but they're also constantly looking for new, creative ways to share it and make it come alive. Okay, pillar number 3. This one kind of shifts our focus from the mechanics of teaching to the teacher's identity. We're talking about the professional role model. This is all about their conduct, their attitude, and the standards they live by. The traits here are really about integrity. We're talking about modeling professionalism in, everything they do. Remaining loyal to the school and its mission, being that calm voice in a crisis. And this one is a biggie, presenting a positive attitude. And the source material really paints a stark picture here. A negative attitude? It's described as infectious. It literally poisons the well, creating a miserable place to work. But a positive attitude? That's a total game changer. It creates cooperation. It stimulates learning. A teacher's attitude really does set the tone for the entire school. And that's the key takeaway for this pillar, isn't it? Being a role model isn't a 9-to-5 gig. It's about how a teacher carries themselves everywhere, in the halls, in the community. Their influence goes way beyond the classroom walls. And that brings us to our final pillar,
And honestly, you could argue it's the most important one of all. This is the heart of the classroom. This is where all that structure and all that skill gets powered by real, genuine human connection.
So what does this pillar look like in action? Well, it's pretty straightforward, but so powerful. It's about genuinely caring for students as people. It's creating a space that feels safe and welcoming to everybody. It's about maintaining high expectations for every kid. And it's about celebrating their successes by proudly displaying their work.
And this point about expectations is so important. A bad teacher might lower the bar because of where a kid comes from or some other stereotype. A great teacher? No way. They keep the expectations high for everyone, and then they couple that with all the resources and support the student needs to actually get there. That's what believing in a student really looks like. Really? What this all comes down to is seeing each kid as a whole person, not just a name on a roster or a score on a test. It's about creating a true sense of belonging, a community where every single student feels seen and valued.
And it can be something as simple as this, just displaying student work. It might seem small, but it's a massive tool. It's not just decorating a wall, it builds motivation, it boosts confidence, and it basically shouts a message to everyone who walks by. Look, success is happening here.
So let's just quickly recap. We have the 4 pillars. You've got the architect, building the foundation, the master, bringing the skill, the role model, providing the integrity, and the heart, making that human connection. You take one away, and the whole thing gets wobbly. They're all essential. And when you have all 4 of those pillars standing strong, what you get is something that goes way beyond just, educating. It's so much more than just transferring information. It becomes something truly profound. Because a great teacher, they don't just build knowledge. They build confidence, they build character, they build futures. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. Who built yours?